Whoa there, mister. Hold your horses. What have I told you before? Don't jump on the counter when the oven is preheating. You're not on the menu. You understand me? That's the great thing about you foxes, that I can't stay mad at you for long, you know? Here, buddy. Let's go ahead and put you right here on top of this counter where you're away from the heat source, and I'll fix you up some dinner here in a sec, okay? Okay, good. Wait a minute. Hey! I didn't see you all there. Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Detroit here. The doctor is in. You know, Mr. Foxy loves to get all frisky in a lot of these different places. But you want to know something interesting? Well, here, let's bring the camera a little bit closer so you guys can actually see what I mean. Locations here in this place, which is my home world, are very important. As you know, through every single Vrchat101 that we have done in the past, we've always gone and filmed it at the same locations here. We have filmed up on my red board. We have filmed here in the kitchen. We've also filmed up in the game area, level 5, and pretty much everywhere here. Because you want to know something cool? It's always good to change up your locations, especially when you're actually filming an intro. Because here's the real deal. Sorry, my throat's a little bit messed up right now. When you're filming in VRChat, it's always important to select a location that you want to, film in. However, there's a few things you gotta keep in mind. I've talked about this before in one of my other videos. In fact, I think we talked about this way back in time when we did the Home is Where Your Avatar Rests video. But picking the right location for the specific video you want to do can be a little bit daunting. So that's why in today's Vrchat101, we're going to put some of the mental health stuff behind us. Well, sort of, because we've been doing a lot of mental health videos. Now it's time to have some fun. And we're going to go to 3 different worlds other than this place, where I'm going to show you some of the pros and cons of some of these different places, so that way it could help you out film whatever you need, whether it be your own show or whether it be something else, in a little segment I like to call How to Film in VRChat, Location, Location, Location. And before I say roll the intro, you may notice, let me back up a little bit, I have new color clothes on. That's because we're filming this right now in September, and September is Suicide Awareness Month. So, for any video that I do, whether it be a Vrchat101 or a State of the Channel video, you will see me in these new clothes. They actually kind of fit me. I like the color scheme a lot, because not only do they also depict the 1990s color scheme, but you know what? It's all about suicide prevention. So, more on that later. But for now, roll the intro. Back in a previous video, we talked a lot about how to shoot your subject in VRChat. Mainly like, how to put them in frame, go from like headshot, chest, belly button, and everything. But now we're gonna go into the second part of this, which is all about location. When picking a location to film your VRChat video, or to do whatever program that you are looking to do, there's a few things you have to take into consideration. Because here's the thing, not every single world is filmer friendly. Some of them are just chock-a-block full of what I like to call landmines. So that's why we're gonna be covering this by going to 3 different maps, and I'm gonna show you some green flags and red flags. Now, what do these things mean? Simple. The green flags mean the positives of the map. In other words, the stuff that can work to your advantage, regardless of, what the content of your video is. And the more green flags, the better. Red flags, on the other hand, these are things that can ruin your video. And they can ruin it to the point where, the video is going to come out looking crappy, or it's going to look really bad. The thing is to always choose a good map that you want to film on, and kind of change it up a little bit. Unless you're doing a show, like we are now. In fact, you know what? My good buddy Arlo, who I think many of you have seen, he runs on a map called Toki's Villa. That map is basically his HQ. Now, yes, there are a few red flags in there, but thanks to some strategically placed camera placements, you don't get to see those. So, what I'm thinking we're going to do for this one is I'm going to show you 3 different worlds, and they're going to go based on these genres. We're going to see one that is moody, vaporwave, which is one of my favorite subjects, and then we're going to go with a neutral world. Let's start off with moody, because you know what? I don't know what it is with some of you. I'm going to start off with moody, and I don't know what it is with some people, but it just seems like that they always want to film a sad video at some place that, fits them, because they think if they just air out all their stuff, it's going to make for great content. The truth of the matter is never air out your content, or never air out your feelings right on the first video. So, let's see. How do we get there? Oh, I know what I can do. Let's see if this is even going to work. Hey, it worked. Alright. This is called Tranquil Waters Retreat. This is a very beautiful map that actually runs in the nighttime. This is made by Rumham, who has made several other maps. Now, you might notice that I did say this was kind of moody in a way. Well, if you take a look at the lighting behind me, you can see that it is kind of moody, somewhat, kind of bright and everything like that. But here's the thing. Over here on my side, I don't know if you guys can actually see this thing, but there's a thing called post-processing. Let me move the camera over here so you guys get a better look. Right about there. Zoom it out a little bit. There we go. Okay. So these things here, these are the post-processing options. Many different worlds will actually have these types of options to kind of help you set the mood, but also give you a little bit different lighting. Right now we are actually on default, which you can see is, totally fine. If I go to neutral, now it's kind of changed a little bit, but what it's done is that it's kind of dulled things out a little bit, and it makes the wood seem more like plywood. If I go to warm, now it feels a bit more warm and cozy. But what happens if I go to cold? Well, as you can see, now it looks a little bit weird, but look at me. I now look totally different. The white here on my face has now basically become the same color as my gloves. And I sort of look like a Joker version of my own avatar. And of course, because, most of you seem to like to sleep in these worlds, there's a sleep function, which right here would bring the lights down. But this is actually what I meant by moody, because when people put it on sleep, this is what you get. Everything looks really, really dark. In fact, here, let's go ahead and do this. Let's move the camera. Let's go ahead and move the camera into the area here. And I'm going to go ahead and swing the camera around again, right there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this back on default. See? Much better. Much, much, much better. In fact, it actually looks way better than you would think. When it comes to filming here on this world, there's a lot of great lit up places that you can actually film in. In fact, one of the things that makes this world so cool to actually film in is because of this. You can actually change the lighting in here to kind of like give yourself, you know, some good stuff. You can also find a lot of good places in here because there's a ton of rooms, which we'll check out a few in a sec. But also, this is one of those underrated maps that a lot of people tend to not go to. So here, let's take a look at some of the other positives, some of the other green flags about this place. As you probably saw behind me, big screen television here with a video player. When there's a video player in some of these worlds, there's two things you want to do. First things first, shut the damn thing off. Why, you may ask? Because here's why. When you are the one that's acting in front of the camera, you don't want anything that is on here to be seen unless you want it for like a meme or something like that. But most of these worlds tend to play lo-fi beats and things like that. So what you want to do is either stop the video from playing or turn the world audio down. However, that's the big problem with these types of places, because here's why. Many times there are music tracks that are connected to the world audio. Now right now you're not hearing any world audio because there's really not much world audio to speak of. Which is okay, because this allows you to pipe in whatever kind of audio you want. So if you want to put, like, you know, I don't know, rushing rivers or, you know, some sort of like forest sound to it to make it sound like that you are out in the forest, by all means do so, but do it only in editing, okay? Don't try to play it for your microphone, because you know what? It's gonna sound like a bunch of gobbledygook, and you do not want gobbledygook. Believe me, you don't. Then we have something that we've talked about before called immersion breakers. Now, as you can see next to me, we have a poster for The Amazing World of Gumball, and also a show called Gravity Falls. Now, immersion breakers usually pertain to stuff that takes you out of the illusion of, you know, actually, you know, feeling like it's an actual cabin or something. But here's the cool part. Because of the fact that we do have those two posters, it means that there's probably a kid's bedroom in here. Or maybe it's a bedroom because you got some nostalgia. Because you know what? There's another little poster up here. Let me actually turn the camera around. We're using the camera controls quite a lot here. Because, you know, we want to put some of these shots into action, you know? But look at this. Regular show. Yeah! And there's also even a poster here for Adventure Time, seen right here. Kind of cool, actually, seeing this. Let me bring this down here. There we go. Also, see how the lighting of this is like that? If I step into the light here, as you can see, it doesn't really affect me. That's because of something rather interesting. Let me try to get the camera situated back here. There we go. Okay, come on. I'm working with some new camera controls, so I'm trying to get this right, so bear with me. There we go. Most of the Nardos that you'll find here can actually work with real-time light. So even if there are some dark areas that you have to film in, we still shine like a light, which is actually pretty cool. Okay, continuing the tour. Okay, there we go. Here's the basement area. Again, nice little area, and you can also see that the light is actually really beautiful. And check this out. There's a bar area back here, so you can put your bartending furries back here as well. But the unfortunate problem is that there's nothing clickable back here. In fact, that's actually one of the red flags if you're trying to do a scene like in a barber area, or basically in a bar. If there's nothing clickable, or any type of pickup or anything like that, then what's going to end up happening is that you're going to have to pretend, which can be a bit of a pain. But here's the other thing. This place can also be good for, a hangout scene of some sort. Heck, there's even a pool table right here, and actually a lot of great images too. I'm glad that they actually have those. I don't know why I stepped over the couch, but so be it. Now let's go outside. Look at that! You can actually see the moon in the water. God, that's cool. So as you can see, we are now outside here in this backyard. But here's the really fun part, though. This area is actually pretty cool to, see and also hang out in. If we can get the camera to stop being a bitch. There we go. Now, as you can see, we're out here in the open. But this world in particular actually is a really nice place to film. So, some of the green flags that we've mentioned here is that you can change the lighting here to best suit the mood that you want. It also is avatar friendly for the most part. I think only if your avatar has like a totally different shader on it, then that's when things are going to get wicked bad. The other important thing too is that there's a lot of aesthetics on the world, or I should say eye candy. I think we're going to call it eye candy, because well, there's a lot of cool things to see. And yes, everybody, you did see a bunch of pictures of toilets, which, by the way, thank God none of them are the infamous skibbity toilet. Yes, I did say the word skibbity here in Vrchat. Yeah, because for some reason it's now in the Oxford Dictionary. Anyway, but of course the red flags of this world is that maybe you don't want those pictures of toilets in the background. Maybe it's a little bit too dark for you. But above all, and this is one of the things that you should avoid, don't use your sparkly avatars. Because you know why? Those things will actually make it a little bit too bright for you. And the most important thing too to remember is when filming here, or filming here at the Tranquil Waters Retreat, is that there's tons of room, but there's not much to actually grab onto. So this is one of those worlds where you could probably pretend that you're having a sleepover here, because you know what? I think there's enough stuff here that you could actually sleep over. It's pretty cool. All right, we've taken care of the moody side. Now we're gonna go to Vaporwave. Vaporwave maps are phenomenal, okay? In fact, my very first home world was actually a Vaporwave map. In fact, I think we actually showcased this way back in time in my original video. So, I think it's time for us to pay a revisit to my old stomping ground that is called the Palm Plaza Mall. Now, let's see. How can we do this? Let's see. Oh! It's off screen. I'll just pull this over. Okay, here we go. And got it. Welcome to the Palm Plaza Mall. This is probably one of the more classic Vrchat worlds that are out there right now. This map is actually one of many Vaporwave style maps that are actually made by a man or a user by the name of They Call Him Cake. Now, there's already one red flag that I'm going to tell you folks, that these worlds are PC only. So sadly, all of you questies out there won't get a chance to come here. But if you are PC only, or PC VR, you can absolutely come in and actually see all the aesthetics. In fact, this is actually one of the things I love about this place already. Already you're met with this big, grand thing that is actually underneath a little water effect at the very top. And you can also see the neon turquoise and the neon things, you know, giving you the vibes of like the 1980s and 1990s. So let's go into the middle of the world and let me show you around. As you can kind of see here in this little area, that the architecture and everything is just so beautiful. Everything is very easy on the eyes, and it screams vaporwave. Because not only can you see like the different colors and things, but they also have different things such as the statue in the back. And you can even see the Crystal Pepsi sponsorship up there. Now, where the vaporwave maps come in, and where the vaporwave maps actually are fun, is this. Filming inside a vaporwave map will actually give you a lot of nostalgia. Because if you were born anywhere in the 1980s or probably in the 1990s, then you guys probably remember that maybe your local Target or your local mall had something like this, including the checkerboard, you know, print right there. This was actually back when malls had character. In fact, this was actually back to when at the mall they were like, you know, come on in, enjoy your stay here. We have a brand new sale here. Try this new food. You know, we have a new place in the food court. Nowadays, they just look like a depressed teenager and are almost like grab your shit and go. The colors of this world, as well as also more eye candy over here, along with statues, all the different things here, and even some of the plants, really make this world pop beautifully. In fact, I can even tell you folks this. Just recently, I actually saw somebody actually film here. Yeah. I don't know who it was, I forget their name, but recently somebody did film here. And this place is good for not only eye candy, but also good for like short bits, especially since if you wanted to have something retro in this place. And what's a mall world without a food court? Look at this place. The food court here actually has quite a few places, such as behind the camera is a place called Creamy Dreams. Then you also have Cutie Burger over there, Franny Fun Bears Pizza, Golden Tiger, and Taco Loco. But the even cooler part is this. In fact, if I was to bring this closer, check this out, everybody. Where's the camera? There it is. Look. You can actually grab the food, which is great. And look at this taco, man. Ooh. You know what? I gotta bring Mr. Foxy here next time I come back, because he would love these tacos. And pretty much all the other food here, because I mean he eats almost anything that I give him. He's not much of a picky eater. Check out that menu too. That almost looks like a menu from like Chuck E. Cheese or something like that. But the best thing about this is that you can also get your own pizza slice too. Here, let me bring this down a little bit so you guys can actually see it. There we go. But yeah, look at this. Ooh. Beautiful, isn't it? And you know what? You can easily make this into like, any other skit that you want to. There's definitely a lot of good stuff. There's definitely a lot of good props you can actually hit when you come here to the food court. Now, usually people used to eat pizza. I mean, people ate pizza like this, but if some of you remember, Pizza Hut wanted us to eat it crust first. So this place is really fun to film in, and if you have a video that needs a vaporwave aesthetic or anything like that, this is the place for you. Because you know what? There are a ton of green flags here. First things first was the eye candy that we saw. There's usable props, which can also help you out. And even though the map is kind of small, there's still a lot of good stuff jam-packed into it. I would say the only red flags here that would kind of prevent you from, you know, filming here is the fact that it's PC only, so if you have Quest friends, sadly, they won't be able to join, so, you know, that's a little bit on the sad side, but who knows, maybe one day somebody will actually make a Quest version of these types of worlds. And also, you want to be careful with, you know, color blending, because sometimes some avatars will actually appear really weird, because with the fact that this is using, you know, aesthetic-like colors, you can actually see how my shirt and my gloves fit in beautifully with this kind of color style. So just keep an eye out on that, especially, you know, if you are a blue Nardo like myself. You know, a blue Galaxy Nardo, as they call us. Right. Now we're gonna go into one more world to kind of like, you know, show you something. To kind of like show you the next thing, which I call neutral territory. Neutral is basically where there's really not too many negatives, and there's also not as many positives. But these types of worlds are actually kind of fun to still film in, because they usually don't have a lot of immersion breakers. So, let me see. I wonder if I can... You know what? There's a bowling alley not too far away from here. Hold on one second. How's that for a screen transition? Alright. Now we've come here to the neutral world. This is called... I think this is called... let me see if I can get this right, because some of these I'm really bad at. Meadow College. Or actually, Meadow Cottage, I should say. This is a really cute and very small world. But it's definitely a really nice place to kind of like film whatever you want to. Because at first it may seem girly, but the truth of the matter is that this is another map that is very easy on the eyes, and guess what? There's no immersion breakers here. A good world to actually kind of get you started. Let's have a look-see around. In fact, here, we'll start off right here at this little bed area. Look at how beautiful this bed is. It's actually really neat. Especially if you wanted to, like, you know, sit down and, you know, do something on this particular bed. Now, yeah, it does have a lot of, you know, flowers on it, but keep in mind that this is basically in the meadows. So you're looking at kind of like, almost like something straight out of like Hobby Lobby or even Michael's, another arts and crafts store. But this is more of an upscale one. Now, I did say that there are no immersion breakers here, but unfortunately there is 2 immersion breakers here, and they're right here on this wall, but I'm not going to show them to you guys because here's the problem. They are, unfortunately, lolly images. Yes. So that's the one red flag about this, is that there's actually 2 lolly images right here. So try to avoid filming those. But, be that as it may, look at the way that this hallway is. And just look at the aesthetics, too. This is beautiful. And not only that, too, but everything here is so precious. And it feels like that you are actually in an old-style home, which is really cool. Here, let's go upstairs. Look at this in here. Ooh, this is a beautiful bedroom area. Look at all this. This is like good craftsmanship, especially for a Quest and PC world. This place definitely is at the top of my list of places to film. Because here's the other thing. I had mentioned about the lighting. Notice how the lighting from the fireplace is lining up this side of my face. Well, if I backed away from it a little bit, you'll see the lighting goes down. So a little bit of something from the fireplace is definitely okay. My god, look at over here. Look at these! Those are so adorable! Cute little foxes! Look at these guys. They're such big ears and stuff. Oh, they're super adorable, but you know what? Wait a second. This one here looks a lot like Mr. Foxy. Oh my gosh, I kind of wonder if this is Mr. Foxy when he was just a fox pup. Oh, that'd be so cool if it was him. That'd be really cool. And now we're coming out here into the backyard to wrap up this great episode. Because look at the way the lighting is. It actually looks realistic. And this is what I'm talking about, everybody. This is the kind of lighting that you should have. Because, again, see how I'm fully in frame and fully lit up? That's what you want. That is exactly what you want when it comes to filming here in Vrchat. So for this world, this thing has a lot of pros to it. It's beautiful, it's easy on the eyes. There is also a really nice sense of like nostalgia, and there's even a little bit of sense of like comfort too. So if you definitely are missing somebody who used to live at a place like this, then definitely come to this world. And I think the last one, I'd say, you know, optimization. It's pretty optimized, quite frankly. And the only two red flags that I would see is, yes, there's 2 immersion breakers in the hallway, so avoid filming those, unless you want to be known as a lolly filmer or something like that. And the last thing is that this world is kind of small, so you can't really bring a big, bring a big crowd here. But hopefully this Vrchat101 helped you kind of get an idea as to kind of like some different locations that you can actually film in. It kind of felt a little bit like, you know, a traveling Nardo episode, but you know what? The only difference here is that I'm not the traveling Nardo. I'm not Arlo. And you didn't hear the Celtic Soul Brothers in here. But anyway, that's going to do it for this episode of Vrchat101. But before we go, I just want to say this. As you know, I changed my colors. I now have a turquoise gloves and a purple shirt. All of September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. This is the month where you, if you know somebody who sadly had a friend who ended up dying via suicide, or has been having some not so great thoughts, or even had the thought of suicide, talk to them. Talk to them and, you know, get to know them a little bit better. Get to know, like, you know, all their different things. So that's why if you ever see a ribbon that has the turquoise and the purple, then you know what that means. So that's going to do it for this episode of Vrchat101. If you guys want to see more of these, make sure you hit the like button. Don't forget to comment down below, because I would love to hear what you guys have to say. And make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you guys never miss whenever I upload. And you can also follow me on Twitter X at itsDocDetroit. So I'll see you all next time. I gotta figure out how to get back to Mr. Foxy so I can feed him. And then I'm gonna have to brush him because his winter coat is about to come in and he's shedding like crazy. So until next time, everybody, I'll say so long, and as always, take care.